Hello everybody, I'm Marcia with Nature's Friends, and today we're going to be making a delicious New England clam chowder. There are, I know of 3 different kinds of clam chowders. My Aunt Jo, she loves Manhattan. It's a red base. We used to live at the Outer Banks of North Carolina, and Harold's favorite is Hatteras style. It's just a clear broth. So they're different ones, but we're going to show you how we make this one. So first of all, it calls for 4 ounces of rendered pork fat. So this morning, Harold had hog jowl cooked for breakfast, so we have the grease left from that.
And that's good and salty.
He loves it. It is salty. So come on over here, honey, and let's show him. So we started out with 3 tablespoons of the grease from the hog jowl. If you are not a fan of pork meat, you can use olive oil. So we're using 3 tablespoons of the rendered salt pork and 4 tablespoons of butter, because it was a half a stick. So there we go. So we're going to get this going here, get this melting, and we're going to add our onions and celery. We're going to saute onions and celery in here. And we had 2 cups of celery and we had 1 cup of onion. So we're going to let this melt a little bit. Come on over here, Harold. My butter's not quite going. But there we go. So you're going to saute your veggies a little bit. Harold was nice enough to chop these for me.
I was chopping potatoes, celery, and onions while she was showering.
Yeah, it's November, and it's that time of year where a nice hot bowl of chowder sure is yummy. So we're going to do that. Harold, are we going to add the thyme now?
I can't remember.
Let me see.
You can.
Don't think it would hurt a thing.
Yeah.
We went out to the herb garden and
Pull it off.
Yeah, we found some thyme, and we're just going to throw a little bit. It'll probably end up being about a tablespoon. I think it's going to be just fine, and that's going to give it a good flavor.
Herbs make everything taste good.
Fresh herbs make everything taste good. They sure do. So we're just going to saute this till it gets kind of a... We don't want to overcook them because we've still got to cook potatoes in here too.
That's probably enough.
1 more. I love thyme. All right. Yeah, that should be about a tablespoon. Okay. So we're gonna, come on over here, hon. There we go. It's gonna be yummy. We started out with a 51-ounce can of chopped clams. Like I said, if we'd lived at the Outer Banks, we'd have probably went to the fish house and got them fresh, but we don't have that luxury now that we're back here in Virginia. So we got them. I was lucky to find them at Costco.
We normally get them at Billy's Seafood. They're made somewhere right there in North Carolina, but we didn't get any this year, and they've gotten expensive.
So what you have to do with that large can of clams is you drain the juice, because the last thing you do is put in those chopped clams, because we don't want to overcook them. So we're just going to saute this for probably about 5 minutes, and we'll be right back. Hey there.
Up in your face.
Are we ready?
Yeah, we're on.
Okay, sweetie. All right, now we're gonna, he really did not give me a heads up on that. So now this has been sauteing for about 5 minutes. So we're gonna add 3 tablespoons of flour. This is what's gonna thicken up your chowder. Okay.
I always had a hard time thinking about that's what makes a roux.
Yes, that's what makes your roux. There we go. Come on over here. So this, now we have to brown our flour and let it cook for about 3 more minutes. So thank you for turning up the heat. Yep, so this is, like I said, this is what's going to thicken your chowder. Like I said, the Hatteras style doesn't have any. It's just a clear broth with no thickening.
And it's so good.
Yeah, I know. Well, we'll make that one day. Yes, we will. So, yep, you want to...
And a lady there in North Carolina, she didn't put carrots in hers, and we don't either. A lot of this stuff came from the old people at the beach and by the water, and they caught their fish and they grew the vegetables. So making a clam chowder was slick as a whistle to them.
Well, most people always had potatoes and onions in their home. And then you just, when you had your fresh fish or your seafood, you just...
And they literally eat fish or fowl down there.
Oh, yeah.
When Marcia moved down there with me one time, she begged me one time, she said, can we get some beef?
Well,
some cow meat, because she said cow meat. All we eat was crabs and shrimp and fish.
Well, you know, you got to realize I moved off of a farm where we had our own beef, so yeah, I was kind of missing a nice steak. Okay, it's browning nicely.
Cooking enough good?
Well, it's not going to thicken up yet. It's just this is browning your flour, sweetheart. So now we have to add. I'm going to turn this down a little bit now that we've got that brown. You going to turn it down for me? Okay. So now we add in our potatoes, and we had 4 cups of potatoes.
Excuse me, I chopped them up nice and small.
Yes, you did. And then it's where we drained the clams and the broth. We're putting in our clam broth now. I think it was close to being almost 4 cups that came out of there.
Yeah, this is going to be great.
It really is. So let's add our salt and pepper. Got to have salt on your potatoes. Well, I did a teaspoon of salt, a half a teaspoon of pepper, and a teaspoon of Old Bay. If you're not a fan of Old Bay and you don't want yours with a little heat, you just leave that out. But we love Old Bay. So what we're going to do now is this is just going to cook on about medium until those potatoes get tender. So I'm not quite sure how long that'll be, probably about 8 or 10 minutes, and we'll be right back. Okay guys, it took about 14 minutes for our potatoes to get tender. Come over here, hon. Show them how yummy this looks. Look at that. And I always chop up the leaves of my celery too. If you wanted to throw in some parsley for color, you could always do that. So here is our clams. We're going to add those now. And it calls for a quart of whole milk, but if you prefer half and half, you can also do that for a richer chowder. So this was just about, I think that's about, that should be about right, shouldn't it, honey? I'm going to use all of that. Okay, look at there. So then this has to cook for about another, it said till it got hot. It's what the recipe on the can calls for. So we're just going to heat this for about another 5 minutes.
Okay, here's the can.
Oh yeah, let me show you that can. So yeah, it was a quart can, so it's a pretty good size can here, and it was chopped sea clams. So like I said, if you didn't want to make this big of a batch, you could just cut it in half basically, and maybe just
We can get the smaller jar of clams.
Well, yeah, at your grocery store, exactly. You wouldn't have to make, because that's going to make a lot. I'm going to share that with my dad. But anyway, so we'll be back and show you how we are going to serve it, and let this simmer or get hot for about another 5 minutes. Thank you. Okay, we're back. I brought it to like a low boil. See the steam coming off of it? Don't want to really have it on.
This is going to be similar to Hatteras. I can't wait.
I personally like my chowder thicker than this, but Harold, you know, this is good for Harold. But if you want it to where you can almost eat it with a fork, then you maybe want to make a slurry with some cornstarch and put in it at this point if you want it thicker than what we have here. But
and for your salt pork, you can use bacon, you can use olive oil if you don't want bacon, or salt pork.
Right, the way we started out, if you didn't want to use the salt pork, you could also use bacon. And then you can top it with your crispy bacon. I'm gonna put this on simmer because I don't want the milk to curdle. But anyway, let's show you. If you have those little round oyster crackers, they go great with this, don't they, Harold? Mm-hmm. So Harold wants it topped. He wants to try some of the salt pork. Like, you could do that. If you don't want the pork on yours or bacon, you don't have to do it. That's just kind of a tradition, I guess. But look at that. Oh, look at it's all these clams, potatoes, celery, onion, and on a cold winter's day, won't that be wonderful? Thank you all for being with us today. Until next time, if you have any questions, you can email us at naturesfriends@embarkmeal.com. Please subscribe if you like our channel and hit like. Thank you and God bless.